In the vast tapestry of human history, few stories resonate with as much power, depth, and spiritual meaning as the journey of Moses. Born during a time of oppression and despair, Moses' life would be marked by miracles, identity struggles, divine encounters, and a courageous mission to liberate an entire nation. His journey from a Hebrew infant hidden in the reeds to a prince of Egypt, and ultimately to the humble yet powerful leader of God's chosen people, offers not only a historical narrative but a timeless lesson on faith, obedience, and the calling that can emerge from even the darkest beginnings. The story of Moses begins in Egypt, during a time when the Hebrew people were enslaved under Pharaoh's harsh rule. The growing population of the Israelites caused fear in Pharaoh's heart, prompting him to issue a cruel decree: every newborn Hebrew boy was to be thrown into the Nile River. Amid this terrifying decree, a Levite woman gave birth to a son. For 3 months, she hid him. But when she could hide him no longer, she placed him in a basket and set him afloat on the Nile, entrusting his fate to something greater than herself. By divine providence, the basket was discovered by Pharaoh's daughter. Moved with compassion, she chose to raise the baby as her own. Thus, the child was given the name Moses, meaning drawn out of water. Though raised in the splendor of the Egyptian court, Moses' heart never fully detached from the cries of his true people. Deep inside, the blood of the Hebrews coursed through his veins, and the pain of their suffering stirred something in him that would one day ignite into action. As Moses matured, he became a man caught between two worlds, the opulence of royalty and the torment of slavery. This inner conflict came to a head one day when he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Overwhelmed with rage and empathy, Moses struck the Egyptian down. This impulsive act of justice led to his exile. He fled into the wilderness, leaving behind all he had known, his royal privileges, his adopted family, and the palace that once gave him power and security. In the wilderness of Midian, Moses found solace. He married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, and became a humble shepherd. For 40 years, he lived away from the noise and politics of Egypt. But this season of obscurity was not a punishment, it was preparation. Sometimes, our greatest growth occurs not in palaces but in the quietness of the desert. Then came a day that would change everything. While tending his flock, Moses saw a bush that burned yet was not consumed. As he approached, a voice called out from the fire, God himself. In this sacred moment, God revealed his name, I am who I am. It was here that Moses received his divine calling, to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites to freedom. Afraid and unsure, Moses questioned his worth. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? He asked. But God did not call him based on his abilities. God equipped him, assured him, and even provided his brother Aaron to speak on his behalf. This divine partnership between heaven and humanity set the stage for one of the most dramatic confrontations in ancient history. When Moses stood before Pharaoh, he did not come as a prince of Egypt, but as a messenger of God. Let my people go, he declared. Pharaoh's heart, however, was hardened. What followed were 10 plagues, each a powerful sign demonstrating God's authority over the gods of Egypt. From turning the Nile into blood to the death of the firstborn, each plague was both a warning and an invitation to release the people of God. Finally, after the final plague, Pharaoh relented. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt. But their escape was short-lived, as Pharaoh changed his mind and pursued them. Trapped between the Red Sea and the Egyptian army, the Israelites cried out in fear. And then, a miracle, God parted the sea, allowing his people to cross on dry land. When the Egyptians pursued, the waters returned, and the enemy was defeated. It was a moment of victory, of divine power, and of faith rewarded, yet the journey was far from over. The wilderness lay ahead, a place of testing, learning, and transformation. Moses led a people who were often rebellious, impatient, and fearful. They complained of hunger, thirst, and longing for the comforts of Egypt. But even in their doubt, God remained faithful. Manna fell from heaven. Water flowed from rocks. Pillars of cloud and fire guided their way. On Mount Sinai, Moses experienced one of the most sacred encounters in human history. He ascended the mountain and stood in the presence of God. There, he received the 10 Commandments, laws not just for governance, but for holy living. These commandments would shape the moral fabric of a nation and influence civilizations for generations. Moses' relationship with God was unlike any other. Scripture says that God spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks with his friend. Despite this intimacy, Moses remained a servant leader, humble, obedient, and deeply burdened for his people. He interceded on their behalf, even when they worshipped a golden calf. He pleaded for mercy, not judgment. His heart beat in rhythm with both justice and compassion. As the years passed, Moses grew older. Though he would not enter the promised land himself, he stood upon Mount Nebo and looked across the Jordan, seeing the fulfillment of a promise long awaited. His mission was complete. He had led with courage, endured rejection, and remained faithful to the end. Moses' story is not just about miracles and commandments, it's about identity, purpose, and calling. It's about how God can use someone with doubts, flaws, and fears to accomplish something extraordinary. Moses reminds us that leadership is not about personal power, but about surrender to something greater than ourselves. From the banks of the Nile to the courts of Pharaoh, from the burning bush to Mount Sinai, from the Red Sea to the wilderness, Moses' life was a journey of transformation. He began as a child marked for death, became a prince living in luxury, and emerged as a prophet who walked with God. His legacy continues to inspire. He is revered not only in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam but also in the hearts of all who seek truth, justice, and freedom. Moses teaches us that the journey to purpose is rarely easy, but it is always worth it. He shows us that faith, when combined with obedience, can move mountains, split seas, and change the course of history. Today, when we think of leaders who have impacted the world, we often think of those with armies, wealth, or influence. But Moses had none of these. What he had was a staff, a calling, and the presence of God. And that was more than enough. Let his story remind you, no matter where you come from, no matter how broken your past may seem, no matter how unsure your heart may feel, there is a greater purpose waiting. You may be wandering in your own desert, but even there, God can meet you. Even there, the fire can burn without consuming. Even there, you may hear a voice calling your name. Will you answer, like Moses did? If you all watch this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to watch the next videos. Wish everyone peace.